The college basketball experience, MACtion 25-26 season preview on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get up to $100 in bonus funds when you use the sign-up code TCESGPN. Song. And welcome everybody into the college basketball experience. MACtion, baby, Tuesday night. So we had to queue up a little MACtion here on the hardwood. Artie messed up the intro music. So yeah, the Wacky Mac is off and running here, baby. Oh man, this I already love this league, and then you add UMass in here, and now I'm never gonna miss a MAC game all year. We're going to preview it. We're going to go team by team, 13 teams in the league this year. Then Northern Illinois bounces out here to the horizon in basketball, Mountain West in football. But yeah, we'll preview this league top to bottom, give out our winners. But if you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, again, the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and the Frank Martin. There we go. Make it Mac tonight over here at the College Experience, baby. And joining me to talk MACtion. These two guys are actually located in MACtion land. First up, from the great state of Michigan, you guys know him from as the LeBaron driving, cocktail napkin having. He is Noah Bienick, Noah B77. What's up, bro?
How's it going, fellas? Can't wait to talk MAC. This conference is right in my backyard. Detroit hosts the football conference championship game. Let's make it the basketball conference tournament too. We favor Akron and Kent State way too much on the basketball side of things. They get to play in basically a home gym every single year, and it's those same two teams in the championship almost every year too. So that's my stance. Detroit, a nice centralized location because now we've got Northeast. And there's, maybe it's not centralized anymore because Northern Illinois, last trip around the sun for the Huskies, and welcome to the MAC, UMass MAC.
Oh yeah, baby. We're in here. Us UMass Minutemen are in here. And Northern Illinois might be a tough year on the way out. Stay tuned. Third man in the booth. You guys know from the Windy City. He is the host of Locks and Dogs. He is Cannabis Capper, aka CC. What's up, bro?
Mac, it's going to be here. Going to be talking Mac with you. Now, Moneyline Mac, is that your name or how you're going to bet?
Both. All the above. I mean, everybody. I have three nicknames. I'm the Mac, the MACtion, and then I got the MIAC, and then you got MAAC. So I got all the M's over here, baby. This is great. I can't wait for this league now.
So Northern Illinois moving on to the Horizon League next year. Last year to be seen in MACtion.
I do think that it sucks because football is kind of ruining the basketball conferences. But them moving to the Mountain West for football, but Horizon League for everything else, I think it helps them in a lot of other sports, and especially basketball as well, being a little bit more competitive in the Horizon League. The football conference will miss the Huskies.
If Northern Illinois went to the Mountain West for basketball, they might not win a game for 5 years in conference.
Probably. Hey, Noah, a question. Last year, Akron has the magical season. They win both the regular season and postseason. Kind of got fortunate in that championship game. John Groce beats his brother, Travis Steele, in a classic. I mean, Miami of Ohio led a majority of that game. Steele with a breakthrough year. We had a bunch of these coaches on the tour last year. Jeff Boals, Rob Senderoff. How did we do in the MAC last year?
So MAC predictions. I went with Toledo to win their fifth straight.
Boys.
I kind of knew that they weren't as good that year, but The year prior, I was like, I don't really love this roster at all. And then they won it. So I was like, I have to pick them again just because I can't doubt Coach Kowalczyk anymore. And you went with Ohio, and Akron did pull it off there. I'm pulling up the MAC standings real quick. I forgot.
Ohio was disappointing last year. They had a bunch of injuries with Boals and company.
They did have quite a few injuries there. I'm pulling it up now. They were 10-8. They finished 4th. And you talking about the injuries like AJ Clayton, AJ Brown, and then who's the other one? Aiden Hadaway and Sharif Mitchell all didn't play a full 31, which is really unfortunate. They couldn't stay healthy there. Because I believe I liked Ohio too. I had them winning the tournament. You, my friend, picked Kent State to win the tournament, so we whiffed on Akron and all 4 of the picks there. For sleeper, we both had Kent State. We thought that was low-hanging fruit, so we said, let's pick another as well, and we probably shouldn't have. I went with Ball State, who was not good. They finished almost dead last, 7-11 in conference, which was tied for 9th. And then you had Eastern Michigan, who went 500. Didn't quite crack that top 4 or 5, though, to be a sleeper. They were 9-9, 16-16 overall. And for the bust, we both hit Western Michigan and Central Michigan. So both of the directional schools in Michigan took a step back, while Eastern Michigan climbed up to where they were previously. So interesting kind of results from last year, and you don't usually see a sweep in the MAC. As I mentioned, Toledo had previously won 4 regular seasons in a row, but didn't go dancing in any of them. So, and a lot of the stats that I'll pull are from a 5-year term where the MAC has eliminated divisions pretty much since post-COVID era. And in that time frame, only one team that finished inside the MAC's top 3 of the standings didn't finish with one of the league's 5 best offenses and defenses. The MAC is usually a very good league. Last year was a little uncharacteristic, a little bit of a down year for the MAC, but balanced teams tend to compete for titles in this league year after year.
Okay.
Let's talk about it, and we'll start with those Akron Zips. But first, over here at SGPN, we're brought to you by, ourselves. The merch store sale ends here in about, 3 hours and change. If you want to get over before the end of September, 25% off with our promo code football. You get one of these sweet mugs or one of these college experience hat, or just an eat shit pit. I just completely butchered my 3-letter shirt that I made. Eat shit pit. I've been saying it too much that I completely butchered it. But yeah, always eat shit pit because Pitt sucks and go Mountaineers. So get on over there, 25% off, promo code football. All right, youtube.com/the college experience slideshow coming at you. John Groce, dominant year last year, 20-1 when you count the postseason. What can you say about Groce? I mean, he's won it everywhere he's been. He was great at Ohio. He went to 2 NCAA tournaments, got to a Sweet 16 his final year there before going to Illinois. He was around 500 at Illinois. Actually, he was 95-75. He just struggled in the Big Ten games. But, comes over to Akron. 3 out of the last 4 years, they've been in the NCAA tournament. Last year being their best year, going 28-7. He has not been able to pull the NCAA tournament upset at Akron like he did at Ohio multiple times, but he's been really, really fucking good. There's no other way to put it. 99-49 in MAC games, 67%. They'll be in the top 4 again. They'll be a contender here. They always are under Groce.
Yeah, they lose 3 starters, but they return a backcourt. And you talk about it, the recent success and consistent success at Akron in all 5 divisionless seasons in the MAC. Akron has finished inside the top 3 in the standings with a very good balance of efficient offense and solid defense, both ratings remaining in the league's top 5 in all 5 years, respectively. Coach John Groce hasn't won less than 12 games during his tenure with the Zips. And the fact that his program returns 5 guys that played 15-plus minutes per game a season ago makes Akron dangerous to win a second straight conference regular season title, in my opinion. Let's talk about that returning backcourt. Two guys that played 24 minutes a game last year. Tavari Johnson, who's the point guard, averaged 4 assists per game, 13 points, 2 boards, shot at 39% from 3 on 4 attempts per game, 46% from the field. And then Shama Scott, a 6'2 graduate senior guard who played 24.5 minutes a game, averaged 9.5, 3.5, 2.5 assists, shot at 45% from the floor, 37.5% from deep on 4 threes a game. Those two are about as good as it's going to get in the MAC. Very, very good guard duo. And they add Evan Mahaffey, a 6'6 senior from Ohio State who played 18 minutes a game last year. This is a kid that had some hype for the Buckeyes and just didn't really see the floor a ton. And that's going to be a really nice wing for the Zips this season. And the front court, it's relatively inexperienced with Anjan Stankovic, a 6'8 forward from Serbia. And then Amani Lyles, a 6'9 senior who played 18 minutes a game a season ago, averaged 7.5 and 5, over a block per game, 57% from the field as well. He was really reliable as a defender, but he didn't play a whole lot. So yeah, the front court, it's relatively inexperienced, especially with the Serb coming in, who hasn't played college basketball yet. And they kind of lack a little bit of depth in the front court. If I was to nitpick about this roster,
Sure.
The backcourt's amazing. You look at the bench, you got Bowen Hardman on the bench, who's a senior, played 15.5 minutes a game last season. Sharon Young, who's a 6-footer. Last year in his freshman year, he played 16 minutes a game, averaged 7.5, 2, 1.5 assists per game, shot at 40% from deep on 3 3-pointers attempted per game. You have Cody Head coming in as a transfer, a 6'2 junior guard from Arkansas State. Marvin Musimli Kamali, who is a 6'6 wing. You got a 6'6 wing, probably Evan Mahaffey's brother. I didn't look that up, but Eric Mahaffey, who redshirted last year for Akron, and Cody Head, Shabi Bari, a 6'9 senior forward from Duquesne, was the last transfer that I have not named yet. Akron's got once again a very good roster, a little thin in the front court for me, but the backcourt's excellent.
Okay, I love this backcourt. Akron wants to play a fast tempo. These guys have proven they can do that. Tavari Johnson should be all conference this year. If he's not, I'd be surprised. Last year, Shama Scott was the MAC six man of the year. Now he's kind of stepping up into more of a starting role. Love that. I love the experience. I love what they're bringing back. I love what they're bringing in. And as far as Stankovic goes, he played 3 years professionally in Serbia. Again, he's a bit more of a role player, but he may be coming in as a freshman, but he's not like a true freshman. He's a guy who's been playing with men for the past 3 years. Yeah, I love this team. Just with the way they, given the way they play, the roster they've constructed, and the system they've got, and the coach they have, this ticks a lot of my boxes for a team that should be playing for a conference championship.
Yeah, Sharon Young, Morgantown High product. So I'd love him to take a step this year. Yeah, Akron's going to be right there to contend for the league title. Groce and company, his associate head coach Dustin Ford, has been with him every step of the way too. They know how to win games in the MAC. That's what they do. They hit the portal well. They identify who they need to get to win games, and they guard and they play fast. So yeah, Akron right there to win the league once again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Dan Savage. Thanks for jumping in once again for another year. I may have to take you up on that Savage Arena day for a game. Very, very cool. Thanks for tuning in for another year of MAC basketball. Love it.
Shout out to you, Dan Savage. Michael Lewis over there at Ball State here. Michael Lewis, a product, he's on the Mick Cronin coaching tree. He came over from UCLA. 49 and 45 in his 3 years there, 25 and 29 in MAC play. They've been okay. Ball State didn't have a lot of success right before he got there. So I think all things considered, Michael Lewis has done a pretty good job through 3 years at Ball State. Noah, do you think we're closer to year one here or closer to what the last 2 years have been, hovering around 500?
Yeah, I think you were a little bit relatively more positive on his tenure than I was, because he won the 11 MAC games in his first year. And then I thought that the roster was going to be sneaky good the following year, but they finished 10th with a lot of the returning production there. So I wasn't quite sure what may be the missing piece or what kind of went wrong with that team. So I've got a little bit of cold feet with Ball State this year because they were my secondary sleeper from last year. The Cardinals don't return a single player that played more than 12 minutes a game last year. However, Mike Lewis went into the portal and brought in 5 upperclassmen to fill out the Cardinals rotation. And that's going to make it Mac's most experienced roster in the preseason via Torvik, most experienced group. So the 5 seniors here, you've got Armani Ziegler, who is a 6'4" junior wing who comes in from St. Pete's. He played 30.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 11 points, 6 boards, 1.5 assists, 1.5 steals per game, shot at 46.5 from the floor. Davon Barnes, who's a 6'1" senior point guard from UTEP, averaged 2 assists a game last year, 10 points per game, and 25 minutes per game. Shot at 34.5% from deep on 4.5 attempts per game. Elmore James comes in from Ohio, an interconference transfer here. He shot 37.5% from 3 on 3.5 attempts per game. He's a 6'3" senior guard who played 25.5 minutes a game last year. Cam Denson, a graduate senior, 6'7" forward who comes in from Long Beach State. He played 18.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 5 points, 3 boards, shot at 47.5% from the field, 35.5% from 3. He can step out if he wants to. He doesn't do it a ton, though. And then you got Juwan Maxey, a Youngstown State transfer who played 26.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 11.5 points. He can shoot it from deep. He took 6.5 threes last year a game, shooting 34%. And then Caden Fish didn't get a lot of burn at Iowa State. He redshirted his first year, then only played 2.5 minutes. His second year with the Cyclones. He could be an interesting piece. Don't know what he could quite offer to this team here. And then Davion Hill, a redshirt sophomore from Northwest Florida State, which is a pretty good junior college. He put up 14.5 points per game, 5 boards, 1.5 assists. Provides him some depth in the backcourt there. This is a solid team. And overall, I think they're kind of middle of the pack, and I don't want to be caught too high on them this year. Mac sounded relatively positive about Mike Lewis, so that might change my stance on it. But right now, I've got him pretty much in the middle of the pack this year.
Okay. Armani Ziegler, he's the half brother of Zakai Ziegler.
Okay.
He might bring a little bit of toughness to that backcourt. Yeah. This is again, they've got a starting roster. It's almost entirely a portal team, and a couple of interesting pieces. I think they lack size. It's not a terrible thing for a MAC team to be lacking in. It doesn't. The teams tend to be a bit small in the roster construction, but I think it's going to hurt them. Should they match up against some of the bigger teams in conference? Mixed bag here. This is a team that I'm definitely going to look to fade early just because there are so many new pieces, and I'm probably going to look to fade late just because I don't really believe in them in conference. To me, the arrow is kind of sideways, and last year was was really mid for this team. So I'm not buying into Ball State just yet.
I have a middle of the pack. I mean, I think that they're a little bit better than they were last year, but I mean, Michael Lewis, each year, either 7 wins or 11 wins in conference play. I think they're around a 9-9 team in conference play, just with a lot of moving parts on that roster. All right, next up we got the Falcons of Bowling Green. I'm a fan of Todd Simon. I think he's a pretty good coach as well. I know they had a step back last year, but what he did at Southern Utah, his last 2 years there, winning 23 and 22 games, and comes over to Bowling Green. His first year wins 20 games. He had won four straight years of 20-win seasons at Southern Utah and Bowling Green. I'm a believer in this guy, and I think that Bowling Green will bounce back after a little bit of a disappointing year last year.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of an off-the-wall hire that I wasn't expecting for sure. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure how familiar he'd be with the recruiting grounds of the MAC, but yeah, he stepped in right away and showed everybody that he could win with any kind of roster, because I wasn't necessarily high on the group that he won all those games with. Then last year it was a little bit below 500, but overall I think it was like 8-10, which is still pretty good for where the Falcons were as a program trajectory wise when Simon came in. In both years, BGSU has had a top half defensive efficiency rating via KenPom. Bowling Green's currently projected to start 4 seniors, which is definitely a plus. Another plus is the 2 big portal gets from great conferences. You got Justin Thomas coming in from Florida State and Javon Ruffin coming in from Colorado State. They project to be big-time contributors for this Bowling Green team this season. Ruffin at Colorado, not Colorado State. Ruffin, 6'5", senior kind of wing combo player, played 20.5 minutes a game last year, shot 2.5 threes per game, 31.5% clip there. He's going to have an expanded role, and they're relying on him kind of talent-wise, how he was rated coming out of high school, to be a big-time contributor here, along with Justin Thomas, who played 22 minutes a game last year for Florida State. He was a 6'7" senior forward who averaged 5 points per game, shot at 33.5% from 3 on 2.5 threes per game as kind of like a stretch 4. You've got Javante Campbell, who returns. He's a 6'2" senior guard who played 30.5 minutes a game last year. Averaged 15 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 2.5 steals per game. Probably the point guard here. And then you have Sam Towns as well in the front court who returns. He's a 6'9" senior forward, played 26 minutes a game last year, averaged almost 7 and 7 on 60% shooting, which is pretty damn good. 2 other returners in that front court, Greg Spurgeon and Preston Squire. They're also kind of high on this JUCO get from Highland, Jason Kimbrough Jr., a 6-foot junior who put up 18.5 points per game, 4 boards, 6.5 assists per game. If he can just step in and be a distributor, I think there are plenty of scorers around him. He doesn't necessarily need to be that 18.5 point per game guy that he was at Highland. And then you've also got the Walter State Junior College transfer, Aiden Goins, who's a 6'9" junior forward who put up 15.5 points per game, 5 boards as well. And then a D2 transfer from Missouri St. Louis to round out the portal group. But overall, I really like this Bowling Green roster this season. They've been hovering right around 500 in the first 2 years of Todd Simon. I think they're going to be quite a bit better this year.
Okay. If I remember correctly, they struggled with injuries last year. I remember their starting center had a bad back injury, and one of their guards had a pair of broken hands. Javante Campbell broke both of his hands. I think he kept playing with one broken hand, but when he broke the second, I think he had to stop. If I remember,
that sounds correctly. Like a fall. I don't remember that injury.
I think the right one was a fall. The left one was also a fall.
Okay.
So, after the first one, his season should have been over, but there wasn't even a debate. He said, "Nah, I'm playing."
Is that a quote? Perfect.
It is actually, yes. Well, the accent is mine. I don't know if he talks like that. He's bringing in dudes, and he had a good season, with kind of a mush roster, and now he's got dudes coming in. So I think the error was definitely pointed up. I kind of like this Bowling Green roster. I like the coach. He's proven that he can win in this league, and he's proven that he can get these guys to play for him. I think the arrow is pointed up. I'm buying into Bowling Green. I kind of like this roster. I'd feel a bit better if they had a bit more stability. If they returned a bit more in that backcourt. But I like the dudes they brought in, and that's that. I think that this isn't a league that typically has athletes like this. So I'm kind of excited to see where these guys can go.
Yeah, they've got plenty of depth. I forgot to mention one other transfer too, Josiah Shackelford from D2 Flagler. He played 27 minutes a game last year as a freshman, averaged 16 points and 4 boards, shot 45.5% from 3. So he's also going to be a good contributor from JUCO and D2 ranks.
I like this Bowling Green team. And they finished 5th year 1. I think they're around 5th or 6th. Just because I like I always like the top part of this league. It's pretty consistent. And then you add UMass into this league too, which will be another somewhat contender. So, the bottom, I think the bottom half and the top half are definitely pretty clear. Bowling Green is definitely going to be a top half of the league team.
Agree. Yeah.
If you want to bet on the top half of the MAC and fade the bottom half, do so over at MyBookie. There you go. MyBookie.ag is our sponsor over here at the College Experience. Your place to bet on football and everything else. Their prop builder is second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head over to MyBookie.ag. Use our promo code TCESPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig is an exchange, where you're getting some of the best prices in the market. Available in 35-plus states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code TCESGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code TCESGPN. All righty. Oh, man. Let's talk some Buffalo Bulls. This program was rolling once upon a time, but hard times have fallen for these Bulls. 13-49 in the last 2 years under George Halkovich. He is a Villanova guy. And obviously they have struggled over the first couple of years here. They were super young his first year, so that was a little bit of a pass year, that 4-win year. But he's a Jay Wright guy, super young, 39 years old. Noah, sell me on some Bulls here, Blue Bulls.
All right, I'll sell you a little bit, but first I kind of got to tell the story of why they've struggled recently.
Okay. Defense.
I mean, outside of just playing up tempo, Buffalo hasn't really established an identity, not only under Coach George Halkovich, but also it's just been a steady decline since the departure of Nate Oates.
Yeah.
The Bulls won just 2 games in year 1 of Halkovich and 4 games in year 2. Sure, it's a small step in the right direction, but I think that continues a little bit more as the Bulls kind of crawl out of the cellar. Because I like the backcourt duo of Ryan Sable and Daniel Freitag, who was once upon a time a coveted Wisconsin freshman. He's now a sophomore, didn't play a whole lot with the Badgers last year, but he's going to be the point guard this year for the Bulls, and he's going to be right next to Ryan Sable, who last year was just the do-it-all guy for Buffalo. He's a 6'3" junior guard who played 33.5 minutes last year, averaged 14.5 points, 3 boards, 2 assists per game, shot at 35% on a huge 7.5 3-pointers attempted per game clip, shot 40.5% from the field, which is really good for the volume that he had. And they're also bringing in Mikhail Pocknet, who's a D2 transfer from King, and this kid was also a scorer. I don't know how much it's going to translate into the MAC, but he put up 22 points per game, 9 rebounds a game, 3 assists, 2 steals, and shot 52% from the floor as a 6'6" junior, as a 6'6" sophomore forward. Now he's a junior. So he was an absolute star at King. They are expecting that to translate. I'm not sure how confident I am in Halkovich's word that it will. And I do like the returning backcourt. Tim Obo was a freshman last year, played 12.5 minutes. He's 6'11", and will have more of an expanded role this year. He's just a really good rim protector. Just sit there and let your size do the work, big fella. And Noah Bachelor was pretty solid for the Bulls last year. 6'8" senior forward who played 29.5 minutes last year, averaged 7 and 6, and shot at 30% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. But I don't think they're going to need him from deep as much this year when you got Freitag and Sable letting them fly. Ezra McKenna is an NAIA transfer from Mobile, Alabama, who averaged 14.5 and 11. They're kind of excited about him as well. But NAIA is even further of a translation from D2. Angelo Breezy, a Longwood transfer, played 21.5 minutes last year as a 6'3" redshirt junior. Did shoot 40% from 3 on 2.5 attempts per game. Derek Tolton Jr. is an NAIA transfer from Oklahoma Wesleyan. He is a 5th-year senior. He's only 5'10", but he can shoot the lights out as well. And then Kyle Jones only played 12 minutes last year for D2 St. Thomas Aquinas in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. I'm not expecting a ton from him, but we'll see. And then they've got a couple of Euros filling out the bench here. Buffalo, I think, has some talent this year for what it's worth. And I like the backcourt. I think they won't be 13th or 12th. I got them a little bit higher this year. So that's what I got on the Bulls.
Okay. I'm really, again, this is of the rosters we've discussed so far, aside from Akron, this is probably the one I'm the most intrigued to see how it fits together. I like the pieces they have in the backcourt with Freitag and Sable. When it comes to the front court, Pocknet, he based on the scouting report that I saw, he plays super physical, above the rim. I'm sorry, he plays more inside, looking to slash on offense than shoot, because he kind of can't. 21% from three at D2. Rumor is he's working on a shot, so we'll have to see how that evolves, and if that can be a weapon that he can use. You've got a guy who could be, like a newcomer of the year contender potentially.
Who is that again? Sorry?
They have it's Mikhail Pocknet.
Okay. Yeah.
And they've got a couple of rim protect. They have size, so they've got a couple of rim protectors they could throw at teams. The roster construction makes sense to me. We'll have to see it fit together, but this is a team I'm actually intrigued to see. I think the arrow was pointed up, but I still think it's a bottom half roster. If
I agree. I think they will be improved, but I mean, the floor has been so low that they have to be improved. So Bulls take a little bit of a step. We'll see how big that step is this year. All right, so I'm high on this hire. I liked it. Andy Bronkema hire over here at Central Michigan. He was 278 and 105 at Ferris State. Won a national championship in 2018. I think that this is an outside the box hire that I think is going to win in Central Michigan.
Yeah.
When you win that many games at that consistent a level, we saw it with McCollum going over to Drake last year. I know that McCollum won it at a different level and was able to bring his whole team. But I still think that I like this hire. Ferris State's a really good Division II program, and shout out to the Chips for going outside the box here and not just going with the same old Power 4 assistant hire that usually never works.
Yeah, I like this hire a lot too, and forgive me if I repeat some of what you said, but they really only it wasn't so far out of the box. They only had to drive an hour down M20 from Central Michigan to Ferris State. Yep. So Andy Bronkema has recruited this area for 12 years. He won 9 GLIAC conference championships. He went to 2 Elite Eights. He went 38-1 during that national championship season with the Bulldogs. He was 278 and 105, as you can see on Mac's slide there. Bronkema, best known for recruiting and developing homegrown talent, and for the most part, everybody who brings in right now is from the portal. Were either in that GLIAC conference, the D2 conference that he coached in, or they're players with Midwest roots. And personally, I love that. Yep. I like the style of ball that they also played at Ferris State. It was very consistent, good offense. And they do take a couple of chances on some D1 guys. It's not just all D2 and some NAI and JUCO guys mixed in. Fat Brooks was a Juwan Howard recruit, but he was once upon a time a top 200 guy. He's a 6'2" sophomore guard who just didn't play at all because Dusty May was a brand new coach and he didn't recruit him very hard. Rodney Johnson Jr. is a 6'5" senior forward who comes in from Tennessee Tech. He played 25.5 minutes last year per game, averaged 13 and 6, shot 40% from 3 on 3.5 attempts per game. Logan McIntyre shot 5.5 threes per game at D2 Kentucky Wesleyan, who is in the GMAC. It's another Midwest D2 league. Yep. He shot at 47% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game. Ridiculous. This is like one of the guys that my guy at Oakland recruits, like Campy. Greg Campy. Thank you. The D2 sharpshooters. He is one of them that would have been no surprise if Oakland landed him. But my goodness, 53.5% from the field as well. Averaged 14 and 5.5 with 2 assists, 1 steal per game. He's not just a shooter. He can play a little bit on the ball. He can play a little bit defense as well. Tamario Adley is a Wayne State transfer, a 6'1" senior, played 29.5 minutes per game in the GLIAC last year, averaged 14 and 6 with 3 assists per game, 2 steals per game. He's not much of a shooter from deep, but he was 52.5% shooter from the floor. And then the one transfer that Coach Bronkema brings from Ferris State, he didn't go all McCollum and bring his entire team. It's just the 7-footer. Like if you were going to choose anybody, he wanted the big man, Nathan Clairbout, who played 23 minutes a game, which is pretty solid for a 7-footer. Averaged 9.5, 6.5 with 1 assist per game. This is like a Princeton big who was able to pass out of the front court, and he can shoot it a little bit too, so that's a good thing. He shot 60% from the floor and 33% from deep when he did step out, which it wasn't a ton. And then you got Keenan Gardner, who played 19.5 minutes for IU Indy, averaged 5 and 5. Nick Mullen comes in from NAIA IU South Bend. He played 27 minutes a game last year. He's a 6'10 forward who averaged 14 and 8. This kid, if he hits, could be big time for CMU. He averaged 3 threes per game, 43.5% from deep and 64% from the floor, which is insane if you're shooting 3 threes as a big man per game. Jackson Whitaker is a D2 transfer, also from Ferris State. Sorry, there are 2 of them. He his freshman year averaged 7.5 points per game, shot at 42.5% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. Will Ashford is a D2 transfer from Purdue Northwest, who played 28 minutes a game last year, 9.5 points, 3.5 boards per game, over an assist per game, and shot at 55.5% from 3. And then Caden Nation, a JUCO transfer from Indian Hills Junior College, which is a pretty good school there, but he didn't play a whole lot. He's a 6'7 junior wing. This team, I think if it hits, which is a big if, I think they're going to be really, really talented on the offensive end. They've got the 7-footer to be the rim protector, which you don't find a ton of them in the MAC. I'm very high on this roster, and I like Bronkema as a coach. I think I might be a little crazy, but I have them in the top 5. I have them contending.
Oh, top 5.
Yes.
Okay. Mac, we gotta get Noah a towel. He's fully aroused over there, just reading off the Central Michigan roster.
They went from being my favorite directional school to now probably competing with Greg Campy as favorite mid-major in the state of Michigan.
I just don't think that he doesn't bring. He's not doing the McCollum thing.
Yeah, but I like how he recruited quite a few guys from his conference.
I agree with that. They just haven't played for him yet, though.
Correct, and they haven't played together. So it's going to be a slow start, but I think when they get into MAC play, this is going to be – I think they're going to be a really good team.
Got to be careful not to knock the computer off the desk there, Noah. I mean, Blue Chew's no longer a sponsor. Just read off the Central Michigan roster.
We have Blue Chew as a sponsor?
No, we had Sword Vitality a long time ago.
Yes.
Swing your sword. Well, in order to swing your sword, all Noah needs is a Central Michigan roster. I can't wait to watch this team play. I think they sound like a lot of fun. How good they are, I don't know. I want to put them in my top half. Just because, one, I believe in the coach, and it sounds like he knows how to put together a roster. Based on the production, it sounds like he's got a solid group for to join the MAC. I really want to see this team play. This is one I will make sure I get eyes on, at least until I decide they're bad. So I'm intrigued. I like this roster. I like the construction. I like the coach. Arrow pointed up in Central Michigan. Let's go.
I agree. And whether they hit this year or not, I just like to hire Bronkema going forward. So I have him middle of the pack as well. I can't get him into that top 5 like Noah with the other teams that are more established. I've seen these coaches win for years and years. But I do like this hire. They did not go the conventional old Michigan State or Michigan assistant coach that always fails at Central Michigan. So. Yeah, let's go. Next up, Stan Heath over at Eastern Michigan, Noah's other directional Michigan school. Stan Heath headed into year number 5 now. They they took a little bit of a step up last year, 9-9 in league play. They got rid of all the super talent rosters that everybody wanted to hype up, and they had their best year. So it was more of a chippy team under the radar, which kind of fit his teams at South Florida that played with the chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's been around the block. He is a Tom Izzo guy. He worked for him for 5 years, so you know what you're getting. They're going to guard defensively. Noah, what about your other Michigan school here?
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Stan Heath. I'll just say that off the bat.
Listen, I mean, he's had some hard jobs. He's from Michigan and USF.
USF's not a hard job.
Back then it was in the Big East when they were in the Big East with all those other teams at USF.
Florida.
Shit, they had like 10 people. 10 people going to games playing against UConn, Syracuse.
I can't go there. Like
what are you talking about?
USF was a sleeping giant, and now you see what AAR built, and it's all. I think
one year.
Stay pretty steady.
It was 1 year. They were easily a bottom 3 job in the Big East when he was there. And he went to the tournament.
USF was a sleeping giant, and there's just no excuse.
Sleeping giant with UConn and Syracuse and West Virginia, Pitt, Cincinnati, Louisville. I mean, what are you talking about?
South Florida is a sleeping giant. That is the definition of it.
Yeah, and
you just unlock it. You can tap into that Florida talent and take off. And they're pretty passionate fan base now after just 1 year of winning. If you just see what's happened in that athletic department all around. Now the football team is doing pretty good now. So yeah, sleeping giant, just athletic department in general. As for Stan Heath at Eastern Michigan, the first 3 years were honestly terrible. I was so down on him entering last year, and a 9-9 finish in the MAC was his best season. And it was with a roster that I honestly didn't think he got a whole lot of backing from the athletic department. This year, you could see that they kind of opened up a little bit for him. And I think that this is my favorite roster he's had. I'm not necessarily like a fan of his coaching style because the offense and defense really haven't been rated well on KenPom, but on paper, the roster is pretty good. I like the backcourt of Stetson transfer Mekhi Ellison and Mac Manseal from Detroit Mercy, along with Addison Patterson, who's a wing from Northwestern State. All three of them can shoot the three ball really well, and they return Godslove and John Chanu in the front court, two really good defensive pieces, and they were good pieces a season ago for EMU, and part of the reason why they were able to finish at 500 in this league. Like I said, Ellison, 14.5 point per game scorer for the Hatters a season ago, averaged 2.5 assists, 2.5 boards, shot 36.5% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. Manseal from Detroit Mercy shot 4.5 3-pointers a game at 42.5% clip. He put up 11 points per game, 2.5 boards, 1.5 assists, shot at 43% from the floor. And Patterson wasn't much of a 3-point shooter with the Demons, but he's got pretty good length, a good defender, a 6'7" senior guard who played 28.5 minutes a game a season ago, averaged 13 points, 5.5 boards, 3.5 assists, and did put up more than a steal per game last year. He's more of an inside guard, look to drive it and possibly kick. And then Braylon Green is a Bowling Green transfer who played 16 minutes a season ago in conference transfer again there. John Sanders, another Northwestern State transfer, is a 6'2" senior guard, played 20 minutes a game, almost averaged 9 points per game, shot at 40.5% from 3 on 3 attempts per game from deep. Aiden Rubio, a UNC Asheville transfer, only played 14 minutes a game. He's a 6'7" senior forward. Carlos Hart, a 6'5" redshirt senior D2 transfer from Valdosta State. And then Merritt Aldern Inc., Indiana State transfer who didn't play a whole lot his freshman year, rounds out the transfer portal group. They also have a graduate senior, 6'5", Bay Dai, who didn't play a whole lot last year, but could factor into that rotation this year. I'm a lot higher on Eastern Michigan this year than I have been in years past because I do think that this roster fits together pretty well, and it's pretty evident that they did spend a little bit more than they have in previous years, or at least they just spent it a little bit smarter because they had Imani Bates 2 years ago or whatever it was, and you can tell that they really just put it into him and Acuff. So, I can see a path for relative success for EMU this year that I haven't in quite a few years.
I got to co-sign that. I kind of like the way the roster is constructed. A bit worried about. I'd be a bit worried about depth. If they get hit by injuries, I think they're going to be sunk. But the way the roster is put together, if as long as they stay healthy, they should be as good with a slightly chance to be a bit better than last season. I definitely see it on paper. Whether that translates to court remains to be seen. Excuse me. I feel like again, middle of the pack team, but a chance to be interesting. Excuse me. Mac, what say you?
You get emotional talking about EMU over there.
I'm dying. I'm choking over here, man.
I think Heath will keep them competitive. But I think there's so many question marks. This is a wild card team with just all the new faces.
Yeah.
They were able to hit to a certain degree last year on a little bit of a wild card team. 2 years ago, it fell on its face. So I think that they'll be trending in the middle of the pack in the MAC this year. If you want to bet on some action, get on over there to Underdog. Underdog has a great place to play fantasy pick'em where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player. Stats available in a ton of different places. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you use the sign-up code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is off to a great start in college football and NFL. Rhythm has introduced a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets in the same type from any model you build, and you can win up to $1,000. Use promo code SGPN25 to download the Rhythm for 25% off your first month. Download the Rhythm with our promo code SGPN25. All right. I wanted to show Arch as little as possible there. Oh, man, one of my favorite programs here in the MAC. Senderoff always runs a good program here. He has been at the helm since 2011, so we head into year number 14. He's only won the MAC once in the regular season, but he has won the tournament twice. But he's always in the top 4 outside of 1 year. That was 2 years ago. They have an identity. They're going to guard. They're going to rebound. You know what you're getting with this team.
And they play for the title regularly. I think they've fallen short in that championship game quite a few times recently as well. In my opinion, I think Coach Rob Senderoff has one of the best groups of returners in the MAC. I don't think it's number one in percentage of minutes returning. We'll talk about that number one team in that category pretty shortly here. But in 2024, we saw that defense kind of really fall out on the Golden Flashes. So in 2025, Senderoff set out and grabbed some power conference transfers that also had some defensive skill sets. I think there are a couple of them were from West Virginia as well. So Mac was familiar with a couple of these guys, I believe.
Yeah.
And they also had a top 5 offense in the MAC for 5 straight years under Senderoff. So as long as that defense stays relatively steady, Kent State's going to be a top 4 program as they have been in most years past. They returned 4 guys that played 20 minutes a game from that group last year. And they also kind of pulled down some really good transfers from higher regarded leagues for a second year in a row. You look at the returners, they all can shoot it quite a bit. You have Morgan Safford, who's a 6'5" graduate senior wing, averaged 10.5 points per game, 6 boards, shot at 31% from deep on 5.5 attempts per game. Sion Medley, he shot it quite a bit, not at a great clip. Averaged 7 points, 2.5 boards, 4 assists per game. Took 3.5 threes per game at a 26% rate there. And then Jamal Sumlin is a 6'3" redshirt junior guard who only played 20.5 minutes last season, but he averaged 40% from 3 and 47% from the floor. And then the other returner that played more than 20 minutes a game last year was Delreco Gillespie, a 6'8" senior who played 22.5 minutes, averaged 8 and 8, shot at 58.5% from the floor. They are boosting up the roster with a little bit of transfers from higher conferences. You have Rob Whaley Jr., who in 2024 played 11.5 minutes a game for UNLV, and then Rayvon Griffith, a 6'7" redshirt sophomore. Last year, he only played 5.5 minutes a game for the Bearcats in his first year of college basketball. I think they're relatively high on him being a good piece on the inside there. You also have Brendan Moss, who was a highly regarded transfer in the 2024-25 class, but he tore his ACL. And then Desmond Briscoe is a top 200 recruit in the freshman class. He's a 6'8" forward who has a pretty good pedigree, at least coming on through the AAU ranks. So I think Kent State's got a really good roster this year. Senderoff's been a great coach. It's just how well they're going to be defensively. They don't really have that rim protector screaming at me on paper, but I do think that defensively, at least in the front court, they're going to be pretty aggressive. All those guys are pretty handsy, and they can all shoot. So I like Kent State quite a bit this year. I think they're also a title contender.
Yeah, I got to co-sign everything he said. I like the roster construction. I'm a bit concerned about size. Rico Gillespie's probably the in terms of height is the tallest starter they have. He could be a potential MAC Player of the Year contender if the chips fall right for him, if he's able to stay healthy. I know he struggled with injuries early in his college career, but he's been able to get over it last year and play a fair bit. Rob Whaley Jr. He may not have size, but he's got width. The kid goes 6'7", 260, and was productive in a limited role with UNLV, early in his career. I love the backcourt. Honestly, they bring back they return a point guard, they bring back a shooter. I really like the fact that this team is kind of stuck together. I don't mind the youth they have in the bench, just because we've got a bit of history with this coach. We know what we're getting. He gets his guys to play for him. He gets his guys, in the position they need to be in. I am concerned about the size. I think it's going to hurt them if they, match up with one of the bigger teams in the conference tournament. But from a regular season perspective, I actually like the way this roster is constructed, and I trust the coach. So, top half team, probably top 4 for Kent State is where I'm at.
Yeah, you could pencil Senderoff getting back to the top 4 for me.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the 1 year, like I said, when they had lost all those pieces, and they still got to the conference championship game that year, he gets to he's in the top 4 every year, and they play in the MAC semifinals or finals every year. So it's been a model of consistency of Senderoff at Kent State. Travis Steele, baby, with Miami of Ohio, the Redskins here. I mean, that big year, big jump in year 3 last year, jumping up to 25 wins, where they were hovering around that 500 mark, and you could see that they were getting better and better. And then last year it all clicked together. 14-4, finished second in the MAC here, got to the championship game, almost beat his brother in the title game. Steele's a good Steele. I think Steele is a pretty good coach, all things considered. When you kind of look back at Xavier, Sean Miller took advantage of some of his guys when he got there in that first year. So I think the more and more we're removed from the Xavier tenure, the better Travis Steele looks.
1,000%. And you look at Miami, Ohio, and they've got the most returning minutes from a season ago at 66.5%, which is by far the most in the league. The only team that returns more than 50% of their minutes from a season ago. And that returning production comes from a team that was just they were really good and kind of broke down a few barriers for Steele, establishing himself as a legit coach, not only in this league, but then when you look back at that Xavier tenure, you can see that, like what Mac was talking about, maybe he was the subject of a little bit more of a harsh eye and critic than others have been at Xavier. You look at how they finished last year, 14-4, top 3 offense and defense in the MAC. That's what wins. And if they're able to maintain that success on both ends of the floor, they only lose 2 starters. That's being Cam Kraft, who averaged 13.5 points per game, shot at 43% from 3 on 6.5 attempts. That's a big loss. Mekhi Cooper was a point guard for them last year, played 23.5 minutes a game. And then they also lose their 7-footer Reese Potter, who played 17 minutes a game. But they've got a lot of returning production. They go out and get Almar Atlison to help with some depth. He was a Bradley forward. He was a 6'8" junior, played 18.5 minutes for the Braves last year. Can also step out and shoot it from deep, which Potter was not able to provide as much. So this kid took 4 sorry, he took almost 4 threes per game and shot it at 38.5% clip. But you look at a lot of the returners. So you have Peter Suter, who's a 6'5" senior guard, played 30 minutes a game last year. Leading scorer, averaged 13.5 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, and shot at 35% from 3. He's probably going to be your point guard here, along with Evan Esparro and Luke Skaljak. Those two are probably going to help out in the ball distribution when Suter's taking a breath. Esparro is a 6-foot junior, played 20 minutes a season ago, averaged 3 assists per game, shot at 41.5% from 3 when he did take it, but wasn't much of a volume shooter, did shoot 52.5% from the floor as well. And Skaljak played 14 minutes a game, averaged 5.5 points, 1.5 assists per game on that limited time, and did shoot at 44.5% from 3 on 2 attempts per game as well off the bench. And you've got 2 forwards that are pretty good on the defensive end. Elmer, however, can shoot it. 40% three-point shooter, took 4.5 per game last year. He's a 6'6" junior, pretty physical. Played 27.5 minutes a game, 11 and 5 he averaged 1.5 steals per game as well, and he can pass out of the post as too. So really good player there for them. Their stretch 4, he's going to step into a much bigger role this season too. And Antoine Wolfel rounds out the projected starting 5, a 6'9" senior who shot 61.5% from the floor in his limited time. Played, put up 7.5 points per game, 5.5 boards, and also is pretty good defensively in the post too. So they also bring back Brant Briers off the bench, 17.5 minutes a game last year he averaged, and he shot it really well from deep, 41.5% on 4 attempts per game. This Miami, Ohio team has that continuity that you're looking for in all of them. If they weren't starters, they were really good contributors, role players from that team a year ago that all have pretty good assets in one form or another, that they're going to be a pretty good team as long as they just, stay committed throughout the year. And I like the RedHawks outlook. Last year, they lost in the conference tournament championship. This year, I think they win one of the titles.
Okay. I also really like this RedHawks roster. It starts with Peter Suter. He was a Bellarmine transfer, a couple years ago, and he hung 40 in a game last year, and they like him to be, he's projected to be one of the, a conference player of the year contender. He could get, he averages 13, 13, 4 and 13, 5 and 4 last year. So he could very well get there. I also like the depth that they have in this roster. They've got a pair of freshmen that they're really high on, and Trey Perry and Tyler Robbins. Perry's more of a scoring, a scoring combo guard. Tyler is 6'10". Tyler Robbins is 6'10", more of a rim protector. They could see minutes in that rotation this year, and given we saw with the coach and development that we saw last year, I love that he's got the continuity. I feel like he's got a lot of versatility on this roster, and he's got a lot of additional pieces on the bench that he could leverage as well. I like their depth. I like their dudes. I think this is a top half, possibly a top four finish for the RedHawks this year. I like this team a lot.
Yeah, they should be in the top 4. The only thing that I'm concerned about is last year they snuck up on everybody. So they're going a little bit from the hunter to the hunted here with some expectations. But with all that returning production and Steele's track record of winning at Xavier and now Miami of Ohio, I'll have this team in my top 4, I think. Next up, we got the Huskies in Northern Illinois. Rashawn Burno headed into year number 5, 39 and 85. Obviously, it's been a tough couple years here for Northern Illinois. They did have the one good year to a couple year 22-23 where they were able to crack into a 500 year in the MAC, finish 6th, but that kind of feels like the ceiling here with Northern Illinois as they've been going in the wrong direction since, Noah.
Yeah, and you look at a couple of the teams that are either reclassifying to D3 or moving in conferences, possibly taking a step down. This is a common theme that quite a few kids transfer out after they see that their athletic department's not necessarily believing in the program and them taking that step to the Horizon League. I don't know if it was necessarily welcomed by a lot of the current roster, and quite a few of them hit the portal. as they're only returning 2 guys from a season ago. 3 seasons ago, in his second year with Northern Illinois, Coach Rashawn Burno, he kind of had a flash in the pan year of success at Northern Illinois with a 9-9 record. The following year, with a lot of returning production, I was high on them. They finished just 5-13 in the MAC, and then last year they only won 2 games. So this is a big time show me year for Burno and the Huskies. I mean, I don't know if it was their decision, but the house is completely cleaned, and they're pretty much starting from scratch. So we're going to find out what Burner's made out of here. Overall, I'm not very high on this group. They're the second least experienced roster, according to Torvik, and it's no secret. I mean, you look at a lot of these guys, a lot of them freshmen, some sophomores. The only upperclassman on this team is Zhao Ituka, a Jacksonville State transfer who was actually pretty good in the limited time that he had with the Gamecocks last year. He's a 6'1" redshirt senior who played 18.5 minutes a game, averaged 8.5 points per game, shot at 35% from deep on 4 attempts from 3 per game. JJ Taylor's a junior 6'8" forward from UCF, averaged 14 minutes a game, 4.5 points per game, shot at 40.5% from the floor. And then Jordan Gurecki is the return is a 6'10" senior, Northern Oklahoma Tonkawa transfer from junior college ranks. He put up 8.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, averaged 3.5 blocks. So that's a big piece there on the defensive end. How they're going to piece together the backcourt is still a little bit of a mystery to me. Like I said, a lot of freshmen and sophomores that haven't played yet that I don't know what they're going to be able to deliver for this team. One guy that's kind of a name that I think they are relatively high on is Taj Walters, a 6'5" combo guard, freshman, relatively respected recruit here for the Huskies, but overall not high on this group, very young. Also, they have a guy from Switzerland coming in, Dylan DeCommon, but I don't know a whole lot about him. But this group, I have them in last in the MAC. I'm not high on it, and it's a big time show me year for Burno because, I mean, my expectations are really low.
Yeah, I got to co-sign on the low expectations. That being said, Dylan DeCommon, he could be interesting. He played with the Swiss national team, and he's described as a do-it-all guard, meaning he could fill up a box score, pretty much any way he needs to. This team's a complete mystery. A lot of young players, nobody's really played together. I think they're in for a rough season in DeKalb this year. I'm just based on the experience that we've talked about with a lot of the other, with a lot of the other programs. I just don't see how this team is really going to, compete night in, night out with some of the better teams in the MAC this year. It's kind of a bit of a mess in Northern Illinois. The Horizon League move can't come fast enough.
Yeah, this team sucks. Keeping honest, this is going to be a last place finish. Maybe they crack 12th. I don't know, but bottom tier team with how good the top half of the MAC is.
Yeah, I think when they step into the Horizon League, they'll be that kind of Chicago team that Chicago State should have been. They'll be able to recruit a little bit better, I think, because they should be more competitive in that league, right, Capper? Wearing the DePaul shirt with the Burno who used to play there. But I have relative hope for a lot of different sports in our athletic department once they get in the Horizon. And hopefully their move to the Mountain West football pays off monetarily wise, because
they can take DePaul's leftovers from Chicago.
I'll tell you which program doesn't stink. The Bobcats, man. The Bobcats always are good. Jeff Boals, another good coach in this league, man. Those schools in Ohio have really good damn coaches, whether it's Groce, Senderoff, Boals, Coach K down there at Toledo, who we haven't even got to, Todd Simon, and, of course, Steele as well. I mean, the coaching in these Ohio schools is off the charts in the MAC. So Boals is always in the top 4 outside of actually last year he finished tied for 4th, even with all those injuries. He's had a winning year every single year. at Ohio, except for last year where he finished 16-16. He won 24 games at Stony Brook. He is he's a Buckeye. Actually, he played at Ohio U, but he worked under Thad Matta with the Buckeyes. They're going to be good again. I mean, you know what you're getting with these Ohio teams in this league. They all have an identity because of the coaching staffs.
Yeah, under Jeff Boals, Ohio's had one of the highest floors each year, is how I would phrase it.
Yeah.
They've been really consistent, very good offensively. Defensively, they've been leaky in some seasons, and last year you can definitely attribute that to some of those injuries. But this year, I think they have possibly the conference's best point guard center duo, Jackson Pavletsky, Aiden Hadaway. Those two are going to be like catamount to this Bobcats team if they're going to have another top 5 unit offensively in the MAC. Pavletsky played 32.5 minutes a game last year. He's a 6'2" senior point guard who averaged 5 assists, 4 boards, 14 points per game, and he shot at 51.5% from the floor. Elijah Elliott is going to step into that backcourt. He, as a freshman last year, played 16.5 minutes per game. He's a 6'3" guard who can get aggressive on the glass. He averaged 3 rebounds per game in that limited time and shot 44% from the floor. Like I mentioned, Hadaway, big-time piece in that front court, 27 minutes per game last year. He did miss some time due to injury, but he averaged 10 points, 6 boards, 1.5 assists, over a steal per game as well, and shot 33% from deep on 2.5 assists per game, and he shot 50% from the floor. Javon Simmons, this kid sucks. He's a Toledo transfer who was very good for the Rockets a season ago. 6'7" redshirt junior forward who played 29.5 minutes, 12.5 points per game, averaged 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot 56.5% from the field. You're a regular starter for one of the best teams in the conference. Why are you transferring out in conference? And then they also have Dior Connors, who's a 6'3" senior guard, comes in from Appalachian State, and he can shoot the hell out of it. 40% three-point shooter on 5 attempts per game. This team's going to be good again. They have some depth as well, especially in that front court. Jalen Breath is going to help Hadaway out if he gets into foul trouble, because that's something that he struggled with a little bit 2 years ago, because he's a little bit of an undersized 5. But yeah, the UNC Greensboro transfer played 21.5 minutes a game last year. He averaged 7 and 7, shot at 47.5% from the field, and he's a redshirt senior this year. They also have AJ Selden, who's a senior on the bench, and then a couple of redshirt freshmen that they're high on, Jesse Burris and Clear Kwani, and then a pretty good freshman class as well in size. So Ohio, man, their front court's great. They have, I think, the best point guard center duo in the conference. The floor is super high once again. I see a top 4 finish for the Bobcats as well.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, this team got kind of derailed by injuries last year. I think they only had their complete roster together for about 10 games. So just, like a return to health for this team is, that's a big step in the right direction. They return, the core of this team is the 4 returners, Pavletsky, Elliott, Hadaway, and Sheldon. But with the pieces they've added, Simmons, he was a MAC freshman of the year a couple of years ago. So that's a great get for them, especially to be able to weaken one of the better teams in the conference. And by adding that piece, the roster makes sense. I like the depth. I'd feel better if they had another big, but I guess with Simmons, Hadaway, and Breath, should be able to get away with it. Evans too, I guess he's got some size, but yeah, another top four finish for this Ohio team. I like this team a lot.
Yeah, and they had bad luck last year. This will be a bounce back year. They'll contend for the MAC title.
Yeah,
once again under Boals.
I think so too.
Finally, Toledo did not win the regular season last year under Coach K over there. The real Coach K, as I like to call it. They still went 18-15, 10-8. They still had a really good year for all things considered after they lost so much. They won 4 straight MAC regular season titles. No, I know you love this program. I'll hand it to you, but the bottom will not fall out. I know the roster is a little bit not to be desired, but still, I trust the coach.
Yeah, Dan, if you're still watching, feel free to help us out in the chat as well. You may even know a little bit more on the roster than we do. But the big piece is Sonny Wilson. This kid's their returning point guard. He's from my neck of the woods, Metro Detroit. He averaged 15, 5, and 3 while shooting 50% from the field, 36% from 3. That's my guy. Watched him a lot coming up through the ranks as well. And I mean, Toledo it's been such a consistent program that last year, I don't know who could have predicted a little bit of a floor coming out on them. Just a 10-8 finish, the worst defense in the conference. It was a rough season for Coach Kowalczyk, who had pondered retirement prior to the season last year. They had won 4 straight conference championships. But no doubt, they've had really consistent offenses, but the defense has consistently let them down in not only just been their weakness, but just in conference tournaments, those one and dones. They really put a lot of pressure on their offenses to hit some shots. And that's when they've kind of had some cracks come through. In 6 straight seasons, the Rockets have had the best or second best rated offensive efficiency per KenPom. So in saying that, there are going to be some guys that are really good scorers on this team. I'm not quite sure where they're going to come from. You have Kyler Vanderyacht, who comes in from Central Michigan. Last year with the Chippewas, he played 28 minutes a game, averaged 11 points, 2 boards, 1 assist per game, shot at 38% from deep, 3.5 threes per game. In conference transfer, don't love to see those, but this guy is going to be one of their big contributors offensively, I think, along with Austin Parks, a 6'10 center from Ohio State, shot at 53.5% in 8.5 minutes per game last year. Sean Craig is a 6'7 senior forward from IU Indy. He had a really big year for the Jaguars last year. Put up 12 points per game, 7.5 boards, 2 assists per game, over a steal per game. Shot at 37.5% from 3 on 4.5 attempts. Really good stretch 4 there if he's able to translate into a better conference. And then they're also high on this Dodge City junior college transfer, Minor Strong, a 6'3 sophomore guard. Last year in his freshman year, put up 16 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. And then you have a DePaul transfer, Chris Riddle, who only played 5 minutes a game, but he's a 6'5 guard that can shoot it a little bit. They also have Jalen Owinga, who was a freshman last year, only played 11.5 minutes for the Rockets, but he's a 6'9 sophomore that can also shoot. And then they have a big freshman class that there's probably going to be 1 or 2 guys that step up and surprise. But if you're asking me to pick out who it's going to be, I wouldn't be able to tell you today. So Toledo, I'm actually pretty low on the team. And 2 years ago, I was low on them, didn't rank them I didn't pick them to win it. And they ended up doing it. This year, I'm not going to pick them to win it. So Kowalczyk's probably going to have him competing for a title this year, but I don't necessarily see it for the Rockets this year.
Okay. Kowalczyk actually recruited both Vanderjagt. Is that how you say it?
I think it's Vanderyacht.
Vanderyacht. He recruited Vanderyacht and Riddle in high school, so it's unique that he went out and made an effort to get them in the transfer portal too. I guess they made an impression when they were recruiting, because apparently he wanted both of them, and they both opted to go elsewhere. I know I'm a DePaul specialist. Riddle played about 100 minutes for the Blue Demons last year. He appeared to shoot well when he was on the floor. That's all. That's all I know about him. I trust in the culture, but they are awfully young and they don't have a ton of depth. If they get any injuries whatsoever, they're going to be starting. They could potentially be starting freshmen. That could be tricky, especially in a conference that has as much veteran presence as the MAC. I trust the culture, and that's going to keep me from putting them in that bottom half. But I'm not super bullish on on Toledo this year. I think this is going to be a growing pains year. They could still be very good. They could still, make some noise, especially as kind of they roll, the season rolls along. come conference tournament season, this could be one of those dreaded teams that no one wants to play, especially if they start to gel as a team and really build that identity. But early on, I'm probably going to look to fade. So I'm not that high in Toledo this year. I know it's a program that has a lot of rich history, but given the youth and given the lack of the lack of depth, I'm not that high in this team this year.
Yeah, which means Kowalczyk will overachieve.
Oh yeah, without question. They're finishing top 3 finish.
They'll be in the top half. But I don't think that they're going to contend for a league title. So
this might be a team like they have the big brand name, a good fade early on, the first month or so.
I think so.
As they're trying to figure out their identity. That would be probably my best advice. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going to happen this year for the Rockets.
All right, here we go. Team to beat. The Minutemen coming
what
in
year
here.
Did you grab this picture from?
Dude, that's the fucking Final Four, baby. That's it.
Oh, come on.
That's cutting down the nets at the Garden. I'm in the background somewhere.
10 years ago. He looks like a young and spry.
He does look young. Young Francisco. Dude, they're bouncing.
Young Francisco.
Dude, they're bouncing back this year. Dude, they're coming from the A-10. Where they're playing only basketball schools in that league that have way more resources than what UMass has. UMass will be a top 5 team easy in this league. Trust Frank in a bounce back year coming off a bad year. If you remember correctly, they were 6-5 before the whole team got sick and the bottom fell out. Last year, they had all those injuries. 2 years ago, they were a top 4 team in the A-10. They're going to contend in the MAC. Come on, man. This is easy.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been right there with you step by step because they have a really good opportunity to walk in here and just kind of assert dominance as the A-10's a basketball league.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're taking a step down in conference, but they did go 12-20 and almost the entire roster departs except for 2 starters.
They all need to leave anyway.
The big man, Daniel Hankins Sanford, and the wing, Jaden Jigay. So they're recruiting as a MAC team through the portal. Like everybody's going to UMass as, they're a MAC team. They finished in the bottom half of the A-10. Frank Martin can be a little bit more of a stern coach. So you might get some, you're probably going to get some kids that want to be coached, but you're not going to get necessarily the stars that want to be coddled, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So I don't think they're going to come in here and out talent some teams like, some on this podcast call may think, but
Pete right away.
Let's talk about the portal class because it's a big portal class. You have Hankins Sanford who returns. That's their star in the front court as their center. Good defensive player. He's also probably going to be their main focal point on offense. How are they going to surround it? They have Marcus Banks Jr., a UMBC transfer who played 30.5 minutes a season ago, 16.5 points per game, 4 boards, 2 assists, over a steal per game, shot at 42% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. That's going to be the big piece in the backcourt. I don't know who's going to play point guard here. I think it might be Kie Parker. I think that might be how you say the name. I'm not even quite sure on that, but he's a Florida Southwest State transfer, put up 17 points per game, 5 boards, 4 assists. He's a 6'1" junior guard. And then you also have Donovan Brown, a D2 transfer from Florida Tech. Really bad team, but he put up big numbers. 20.5 points per game, 4.5 boards, 3.5 assists. Shot at 36.5% from 3 with a lot of volume. And then Isaiah Placide, a D2 transfer from Akron, who also was a big-time star for them. A graduate senior this year. He's 6'4", played 32 minutes a season ago, 20 points per game, 4 boards, shot at 35% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. A lot of reliance on some D2 stars to step in here and contribute right away. That, to me, doesn't scream a team that's going to out-talent some MAC rosters. The front court has Leonardo Bettiol, a graduate senior, 6'9", from Abilene Christian, played 26 minutes a season ago, 13 points per game, 4 boards, over assists per game, shot at 52.5% from the floor. The front court's solid. Him and Hankins Sanford, one of the better ones in the conference. The backcourt, I've got questions outside of Marcus Banks. Capper, how do you feel?
I feel a lot like you do. No, a lot like you do.
You guys are fucking high.
Well, yeah. Look at it's in my name, bro.
Dude, this is a top 5 team easy.
What do you mean? Okay. Again, the front court, I'm all about. I think it's a legit front court. For in the MAC. Backcourt, that's gonna work. That's where the coaching is gonna need to step in. And I think they've got that. But it's an awfully young roster, and they lost everybody. I guess nobody wants to go to Muncie in January. I can't say I blame them. Shout out to to Michael Hoffer in Muncie. You're adding a great coach. I think we can all agree they're adding. A great coach has been added to the MAC.
Yes.
However, the coach does not bring with him a great roster. I think they'll get better. I wish it did too. I wish they had 12 guys coming back so they could just run through the league and we could make it an easy cap and have it be an easy show. But they don't have that. They've got a group of guys. They're going to be growing pains early.
Guys, that's one way to put it.
That's under the radar guys with Frank Martin. Sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
The one name that's interesting to me is the big Swede that they got. He was recruited by 3 teams. He turned down ASU to sign with UMass. Can you guess what the 3rd team was? The Long Island Sharks. So he chose not to go to an NAC school. He chose to go to a MAC school for Frank Martin. He wants to be coach, clearly. I bottom half. I'm sorry, Mac. You explain to me how this is.
That's because it's Frank Martin. They just finished in the top 4 in the A-10 2 years ago
with guys that aren't there.
He took South Carolina to the Final Four, arguably the worst basketball job in the fucking SEC. He's not finishing in the
outside
bottom.
Of baseball, it's one of the worst athetic jobs.
Yeah, he's not finishing in the bottom half of the MAC. Come on, Cap.
I think he's finishing in the middle.
Bottom of the middle.
Top 5. This, by the dip, everybody's sleeping on Frank. He's the only coach in this league that's got a Final Four too, by the way. Yeah.
Why is UMass in the MAC anyway? I mean,
nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good. I'm gonna make sure I clip your guys' shit and send it to Frank. I'll give him
fine.
Go ahead. I want him to be good.
Frank, we want you to be good. Frank, this is Cap here. We want you to be good, but we're not. We don't believe in the roster. I'm sorry.
He's not bringing a roster from the
no.
Good.
He's got JUCOs and D2s and Swedes.
Those are the guys he needs. He needs under the radar guys that want to guard it and play hard. That's what wins in the MAC, defense.
Speaking of under the radar guys and want to play hard, this is the team that also fits that narrative.
Yeah,
in a good way. Like I'm just being serious. That's their identity.
Take it away, Dwyane Stevens. 3 years. I mean, it's been obviously a little bit of a rough start, although 9-9 back-to-back years in the MAC, which is not bad. He's an Izzo guy.
Yep.
So they are, to Noah's point, they are going to guard, they are going to rebound. That's going to be the identity of that program.
Yeah, and they're just going to outperform expectations. Because if you look at this roster for face value, it's not great. It feels like Coach Dwyane Stevens just took this job yesterday, and he's entering year 4. Like Mac said, one of Tom Izzo's disciples, and was one of the rumored top options to replace him at Michigan State when he finally hangs it up. But he's yet to have a record above 500. These last 2 years at Western Michigan finished exactly 9-9. That's basically because they're a scrappy group, especially on the defensive end, that are going to outperform expectations, like I've already said. They don't have a lot of returning production. They returned 5 guys from a season ago. Only one of them played 20 minutes or more, and that's their big man, Max Burton, a 6'10 forward who played 21.5 minutes a season ago, averaged 5 and 5. Pretty good defender of the rim and shot 51% from 4. Point guard's expected to be a freshman, Sherrod Barnes. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I'm expecting him to also be pretty scrappy defensively and just be able to distribute the ball pretty well. Justice Williams is a guy that's been bouncing around all over the place. I think he was at LSU once upon a time. Last year, he was at Robert Morris. Didn't play, but in 2023-24, he was stud for the Colonials. played 30 minutes a game, 12 and a half points per game, 3 boards, 2.5 assists, and shot at 31.5% from 3 on 5 attempts per game. He's a huge wild card because I don't know what happened last year. I don't believe it was an injury. And I have kind of heard some stories about this kid, character-wise, which with the Tom Izzo tree, really interesting to see how this is going to play out. Jaden Brewer is a Florida international transfer who shot 48% from the floor, 14.5 points per game, 5 boards, 1.5 assists. He's a 6'6" senior, kind of do-it-all guy. He can contribute in multiple different ways. And then they have Trey Lewis, a 6'6" redshirt junior forward from Purdue Fort Wayne. And he only played 10.5 minutes a season ago, but he was an efficient shooter when he was on the floor. 46% from the floor, 38% from 3 on 2 attempts per game. So overall, there's some pieces here. They're young, a little bit inexperienced for me, for my liking. And Justice Williams could be a little bit of anything. But overall, I'm not going to have the Broncos predicted to finish very high, but they're going to finish higher than where I have them. So that's my Western preview.
Okay. Sherrod Barnes, he was a teammate of Trey McKinney, the Michigan recruit.
Okay. I should know more about him then.
He apparently they led Michigan. They led Orchard St. Mary's to a 2024 Michigan D1 state title and a 2025 semifinal run.
They beat IMG Academy too.
That's legit. Steven says he's a kid who's super competitive. He's an unbelievable defender, but he can also get the ball where it needs to be. He's done a good job of improving his outside shot. Okay, so that tells you exactly what kind of player. So
just a distributor.
Defense, and distribution. He's not. If he's shooting, you're probably in trouble. So yeah, it sounds like a Western Michigan player. What's interesting is apparently Burton is bulked up a bit in this offseason. So I kind of like. I think we're going to see some improvement there as far as him getting the starting role, but also just adding a bit of bulk to his frame. The other guy, just the first name, Michael Solaka. Apparently, they're high on him too. He's one of those guys who just kind of outworks and out hustles. Fits right in with the Western Michigan philosophy. Supposedly he's one of their strongest players. Strong, tough, and can block shots. Okay, he's a WMU guy.
I went to high school with this kid, by the way, too.
Did you really? Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, is he strong, tough, and can block shots?
He was skinny as a board when I knew him, so I don't know a whole lot about him right now.
Well, apparently he's one of the strongest guys on the roster. So
interesting. Yeah, he didn't play a whole lot last year, but.
Yeah. Either way, I co-sign. This is going to be a scrap. This is going to be the team that nobody wants to play, like right off the bat. Scrappy group. I'm interested in Jaden Brewer. The scoring. The scoring punch he can bring. I like Justice Williams. We'll see what we'll see what happens with him. It's an intriguing piece for the roster if he wants to play or not. We'll have to see. So,
sorry, I went to school with his brother, Solaka's brother.
Oh. Okay, so his brother was skinny. Michael might be a freaking hoss. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, Chippy. I like Stevens. I think they'll be around the same in the MAC, around 500. So, All right, 13 teams down, 0 to go. Final predictions time. 13, I got Northern Illinois.
I think we all do. Noah?
I agree.
Do we all have Buffalo at 12?
I do.
Let me check my notes.
I like the backcourt of Ryan Sable and Daniel Freitag, but I don't think it's going to be enough to climb them out of 12th. I think they're going to win more than 4 games, but I think they're going to be still in the bottom of the standings.
Yeah, I gotta think they're going to be down there. Yeah, I'll put. Sorry, I gotta go back to my notes. I apologize. Give me Ball State at 12. I think Buffalo improves. Arrow's pointing up in Buffalo.
All right. At number 11, I got Eastern Michigan. Yeah, I not very high on Eastern Michigan.
Okay. I have Western Michigan. It's not a roster that I love. Again, they'll probably outperform my expectations. But yeah, we just talked about them. So if you want to Here, just rewind it. If
I'm
you
sorry,
skipped ahead.
Mac, who'd you have at 12, Mac? You had Buffalo at 12? I got them at 11.
Yeah. And then I had EMU at 11. At number 10, I have Western Michigan. But, yeah, I mean, I like Stevens as a coach, though, so it's kind of hard ranking him this low at the bottom.
At 10, I have Ball State. It's an experienced roster, but it's a prove-it year for Mike Lewis for me. I'm not high on that tenure so far. So, yeah, I got Ball State at 10.
Okay. Shoot. I'll go EMU at 10.
Okay. At number 9, the wild card team. I got the Chips. A lot to prove here in year one, but I'm excited to watch this team for sure.
Okay.
At 9, I've got Eastern Michigan.
Okay.
Again, not a huge fan of Stan Heath, but I think this roster actually fits really nice. So, EMU 9.
Okay, at 9, I've got Western Michigan. I like them to do a bit better than you guys.
At 8, I got Ball State. Mike Lewis seems to always be in the little median here, so I'll go Ball State at 8.
Okay. At 8, I'll go Central Michigan. I think that, I think it's intriguing roster, but I don't know that it can compete, for in the MAC day in, day out.
At 8, I've got UMass 8. Outstanding front court. Just, I mean, they're not bringing a whole lot from the A10 teams. A lot of D2 and NAI guys having to, provide a lot of production here. And again, Mac knows a whole lot more than Frank Martin than I do, but I like a different team that has a lot more D2 studs and stuff that I'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay.
What do you got, or is it me?
I
think it's me. I'm at 7 now.
I'm at 7 also. Okay.
I took Toledo, man, even though I love Coach K there. But I think that they're more of a middle of the pack this year.
I have Toledo there too. I agree. You can bank on Coach Kowalczyk finishing, should be in the middle of the pack, even though there's relatively a lot of questions. It's just Sonny Wilson and Kyler Vanderyacht, and then I don't know.
Okay. 7, I have UMass.
You guys are gonna eat shit on this one. You guys are like, oh wow, that Frank Martin guy. He didn't forget how to coach.
9-9 is I'm sorry, a 500 record was 7th place in the MAC last year. I think that's about where they're at, if that. I'm being generous.
At 6, I got Bowling Green. Even though I like them, man, I like Todd Simon and company. I think that they will maybe win 20 games, but I think that they will be around 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I have Bowling Green 6th as well. It's a good mix of returners and experienced big ticket transfers that just need some actual floor time, and I think the production will be there. So they're right in the middle for me.
And we've all got Bowling Green at 6.
All right.
At number 5, even though I like the returning production, I want to see it back-to-back from Miami of Ohio, even though they are the all-time winningest team in the MAC, which is ironic. But they're transitioning from the hunter to the hunted here. Let's see it with this veteran group one more time. So I got them 5th, even though I like them as well.
Okay. I have Central Michigan 5th.
Wow.
I'm really high on Andy Bronkema, who comes in from Ferris State. 2 Elite Eights, a national championship where they were 38-1, a really good offensive-minded head coach. He's brings in a lot of guys from his area that he played against, and I think that's going to help him out as a scout. It's basically a D2 all-star team with a D2 coach. I like that a little bit more than a D2 backcourt by Frank Martin. So I have Central Michigan 5th, and yeah, go Chippewas.
All right, 5th, I've got Toledo.
Okay. At 4, this is where I'll put Frank. I'll put Frank in at 4. Top 4 finish, because that's what he does. That's what he did at South Carolina. He did that at UMass in the A10. He'll come into the MAC and finish top 4. We don't need to win the regular season. It's a one-bid league here, unfortunately, in the MAC. So top 4 for Frank in year number 1 of MACtion.
Okay.
I've got Ohio 4th. I think it's the best point guard center duo. They've got a really good front court in general. Jackson Pavletsky and Aiden Hadaway, they're just going to be the heart and soul of this team. And we'll see how good the defense is, because I've got some question marks on the front court defense.
Okay. I've also got Ohio 4th. Similar thought process, similar reasoning.
I went Kent State at 3. Senderoff, Death Taxes, Senderoff, top 4 finish once again. Kent State, love this program.
So I went with Akron. And with the Zips, for me, they're always steadily going to be contenders. Last year they won both. I just think it's a slight step back. They have a lot of guys returning that didn't have starting roles last year, and we'll see how that goes. So I've got them 3rd. I'm a little bit higher on 2 other teams.
I've also got Kent State at 3.
At 2, I got the Zips of Akron. They're going to be a heavy favorite, which means I don't think that they'll win the regular season. Even though I like Groce and company, they lost a lot off last year, but they'll be in the thick of things once again.
I have Kent State 2nd. I think this is possibly your best offense/defensive backcourt in general all around. Really good. I think after Coach Senderoff kind of had the bottom fall out of him 2 years ago, he's really focused on defense. Everybody's pretty scrappy on this team, and I love that. So power conference transfers in the front court, really good backcourt. I like Kent State a lot this year.
Okay. I'll go Akron 2nd. Again, I don't think they run through this conference the same way they did last year.
And I got Boals, Jeff Boals in Ohio winning their first regular season title. They have not won it. I think that last year they got a lot of bad luck, a lot of injuries. I like what's coming back for them. Give me Boals and company to win the regular season here in Athens, Ohio.
Okay.
I have Miami, Ohio win the regular season. They return by far the most minutes out of any team in this league, 16%. That's from a 14-4 team a year ago, a team that had a top 3 offense and defense. Almost every projected starter for this year's team had almost a steal per game. A lot of them are able to shoot the deep ball. I think it's a complete team. And I think Travis Steele has been a disrespected coach so far through his tenure as a head man. They return so much production, man. It's hard not to love. So I got Miami, Ohio winning the regular season.
I also have Miami of Ohio winning the regular season. Again, veteran roster, been in the system, with the coach for a few seasons now. Again, to your point, the most complete team I see in this conference, and I feel that goes a long way in the wacky MAC. So give me the RedHawks to win it.
All right, which Eastern Ohio team is winning the conference title in the tournament?
None. UMass.
Yeah,
Chip on their shoulder team is going to be playing their best ball at the end of the year, baby. Minutemen win it and go to the dance in year 1, baby. Let's go.
I'm going to go Kent State. They've been left at the altar so many times. I think this is a really good group that has some experience. I'm going to go Kent State.
Give me. I really want to pick Toledo, but I'll go Ohio. I think they kind of scrapped their way through the conference tournament and just kind of bully their way into a dance.
Sleeper
Mr. Jalapeno beat me to my punch. Central Michigan's got to be my sleeper in the top 5 there for the Chips. I'm banking on Andy Bronkema delivering in year 1 with a D2 All-Star team, basically. Fire up Chips.
So what are the rules for the sleeper again?
Just a team that didn't finish in the top 4 that you think has the best chance to finish in the top 4. The top 4 last year was Akron, Miami, Ohio, Kent State, and Ohio.
Does UMass count?
No, UMass
can count. Yeah, why not?
No, I don't think
they finished in the bottom half of the A10.
I'll co-sign Central Michigan. I think they can make a jump. I could see it. I like them as a sleeper.
For sleeper, I mean, I don't even know if UMass is a sleeper. They're coming from the A10.
With this roster, I think they might be.
You he can have us three on the fucking court. He's going to finish in the top 5.
I don't, not with my back.
He
No
hasn't
way.
seen me play basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, I
honestly
guess
probably my worst sport.
I guess actually UMass would have to be my sleeper because I don't really have another sleeper.
Hey, I give it to you. They finished in the bottom half of the A10 last year.
Yeah.
And then bust. So out of the top 4 teams last year, which one do we think has the lowest floor? Akron, Miami, Ohio, Kent State, or Ohio?
Miami, Ohio.
I'd say Toledo.
Well, Toledo wasn't. They did finish tied for 4th, I guess. So, yeah, we could throw Toledo in here.
I'd say Toledo.
In that case, that's kind of the obvious answer of the 5, I think, right?
I think it is.
Yeah.
All righty, man. The Wacky Mac. 1 hour 40 minutes in. Speaking of Mac, we don't have Maction yet, but we got college football coming up next. We got weekday previews Thursday and Friday. I got to preview West Virginia, BYU, and Provo. I can't wait for that one. So go check us out. Coming up just shortly after. This is preview number 8, I think. Yeah, preview number 8. So, yeah.
8. ACC Thursday.
ACC Thursday. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to one tomorrow, so make sure you get your notifications turned on. Go check out the Locks and Dogs podcast with Cannabis Capper, Mr. CC over there, and he's at Cannabis Capper. Noah Bienick over there at the College Baseball Experience as well, so go check out that. And he's at NoahB77_. I'm at Moneyline_Mac. Go Minutemen. We're winning we're winning the MAC in year 1. Fuck the A10. We're done with that A10 shit. It's all about Maction for us Minutemen now, baby. Let's go, Frank. This is the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here. Cheers. Season can't get here soon enough.
No, it can't.
November 26th, Feast Week, Miami, Ohio money line against UNC.
I like that.